Hello, please enter your 6-digit conference code. Welcome to free conference calling. The conference has not started. If you are the host, please enter your 4-digit host code to open the conference. If you are not the host, please press the star key to connect to the conference and wait. We will now connect you to your call. Please say your name. Thank you for waiting. Your host has yet to join. Thank you for waiting. We will now connect you to your call. The host has joined the conference. Conference recording started.
I'll call the meeting to order and we can get into the folders here. Looks like we only have two because nothing was given.
Chris, what's this one going to? You got any idea?
It was lingering, I don't know, stick it back in here, looks like something from Gwen.
Okay.
We stuck with something that came unstuck and restuck.
Yeah, no, it's, yeah. And when I opened it up, it just kind of flew around. It's like, okay. We officially kicked the meeting off?
Yes, we did.
Thank you. Looks like these are supposed to be signed next week. These are supposed to be signed next week, 6/2.
Bring back in. I don't think it makes any difference if we date it today.
Wait. Somebody's already predated them all.
Then I would say they shouldn't have put it in the folder.
I would agree with that. That's okay, we can.
Put your name on the left-hand side while you're writing.
Okay.
Yeah. On this, gear for the fire department, is this something that he gives the new people that come on, or is this like a recurring?
Actually, fire department gear is an ongoing deal.
Yeah, I was just curious, if this,
Glow Extreme Jack.
everything. Person coming on or something, a full outfit, or?
Yeah, it looks like, 2 sets.
Yeah. Or maybe just replace an old?
I think I looked at that. Turnout gear does have a shelf life.
Yes, it does.
And so I think it's just replacement of stuff that's expiring.
Because I think a lot of that stuff he may have been getting grants in the past for, so that may not be coming straight out of the operating budget. Not
I
fine.
think it is this time around. I don't think he doesn't have a grant, at least at this time.
Okay.
He may be looking for one, I don't know.
I saw the, firehouse number 1, the door was open, so Randy may not be here today.
I saw that, I came by.
Yeah. Something probably happened.
I've got to apologize if I just speak up a little bit, because I left my microphone on the charger at home.
What?
Glad you said that.
And I broke one of mine this morning.
You said he might not come today?
Yeah, I saw some action up at Firehouse 1, so there's a potential that they may have had a call. We'll see. He makes it, he makes it.
Everything on the left side is dated 6/2, everything on the right is dated May 26th.
Then the budgets that actually you all got, that manifest is included. Okay, make sure.
Chris, can you, tell me about this note here? That's unable to log last year, your soft grant.
Oh, Gina Depot, yeah, she probably applied for the timber and then nothing was cut, so she didn't, there was no revenue involved.
Okay. So if she applied last year, if she put in a 10th in, it'd still be good for this year, wouldn't it?
That I'm not sure.
It carries at least a year.
She probably just wanted to submit it to, meet the deadline.
I have a call with Spectrum tomorrow from New York.
I didn't get a chance to really scrutinize it, but I think we might be better off to take the 80-60 contract with them at the 100-100. Dr. Wilson, some other stuff I mentioned, he said all you need is 80-50, well within what you need, what you want. That gives us full service everywhere without having to figure out what things we lost, because I tried to do
It's
something.
5 to 10 times better at that speed than what we got today.
I'm sorry?
Way better speed than what we have today.
Oh, yeah. If we do full service, it's $10 a seat. So that's another $90 a month just for full service. And really the only one that I really need is if they need it. There's a little concern in the conference outside, the state's business and trucks is outside Consolidated Network.
Yeah.
So those calls would be toll calls, and they'll make quite a few of them.
Well, and all these meeting calls we're having here are all toll calls too.
Now, well, what I did when I talked with them, I said, okay, so we'll make one seat, pay $10, and this line would be the one seat. But that doesn't take into account, see, I'm on Comcast, so if they call my house, is that a toll call, even though I'm in a consolidated area? Or is that not a toll call? Because I'm on,
From their standpoint, it's an origination of toll. Oh, excellent. Not where it ends up, it's where it's originating. So if somebody's originating a toll to a Spectrum, we're gonna get billed for it. We're consolidated.
So anyway, I'm waiting for him to answer that question,
Okay.
because I specifically put that question to him.
Okay.
That if we go to the slightly slower service, that is the business service, this is a kind of a put together.
Yep.
If we do that, then we get free toll from anyway on all times. That's not, so I want to do the number crunch on that before I
Okay.
make a recommendation.
Makes sense?
Also, when I talked to Will this morning, he says a private phone company that buys off of Consolidated is much cheaper because they buy so much.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't know if they come to this phone office, he knows the CEO, so he's gonna call them and get back to me.
Yeah, they're based out of Rochester, I think.
I don't know, but
Now that you say that, yeah.
but anyway, he said that he would reach out to them. If he could get them today, it would be today, if otherwise it would be a couple of days. Let's see if they come to this conference.
This historic research project, resource project, I'm sorry.
Looking for your signature.
Don't you want to be the signatory for things like this over there? I mean, it's
I-
all the work
I-
you're putting.
I know, I do, but because of the way I'm leading it and signing it, I'm not sure I ought to be doing both.
Oh. All right.
Because it's a board of selectmen saying, yep, we've read the guidelines and we're okay with the guidelines. So it's really our group, and I just thought it would be cleaner if it was a separate signature from mine.
All right. I mean, you know my position on
Yep.
this stuff.
Yeah, so I'm thinking 5 years down the road.
Okay,
So,
sure.
When you look at it, this one's all filled out. So the only one that needs to be signed is this one and this one. I've already dated it, I put the title. I'm gonna do it.
And these are two separate things?
Nope, it was just to show you, I didn't want to put purple on the finished copy.
All right.
Chris, I'm assuming this is all my homework?
Yeah.
Okay. Research for what we've spent for waste management.
A lot of them are copies, so.
No, I'm not gonna take it. I'm just copying stuff down.
Okay.
That's it.
I started making copies and I was like, I don't think I really
Nope.
need to.
Nope. Thank you.
Mike, I moved that $8,000 bill back into, road contract.
It's gonna be interesting.
Actually, it's not bad. Cause we should be 41.6% spent on the budget right now. And if you look at there's only a few lines that are over that. And if you look at the overall budget, it says we're only, 26.5, because that doesn't have this month, the school payment in it. Even if we put this school payment in it,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be at 41.6.
Oh, wow.
So overall, the budget's in good shape.
Oh, that's encouraging.
And I got some ideas on some of the line items, but we can talk about them, but, most of the expenditure should be 41.6% of this month. Well, as I'll close the business Friday, but we're not gonna pay anything else between now and then. Now, that doesn't necessarily say we have the money in our checkbook.
Right.
People sometimes don't make that connection.
That's correct. We're talking about the budget.
Property tax bills are available online.
Are you looking at the lawyer across the street? I think I said it in the email. It's $61.50.
Yeah.
We can't find. And Gwen and I finally decided we weren't gonna stare at it any longer yesterday.
Tricky billing. Page 1, page 2, same amounts of totals.
Yeah, subtotal, and then total. I looked at that myself. All three numbers are the same. The bottom line is what I was looking for.
Right, since it didn't double.
Yeah, it did, which is what I was expecting, so I'm happy that,
I only paid the
Actually-
bottom line amount.
just take a look at that. Again, I didn't check to see if the information above it was the same on both.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's, an ongoing,
No, I know,
Alley.
but in which case it may have been the total was wrong.
I don't think so, because the numbers on this page don't add up to the subtotal.
Okay.
Just at a quick glance, that's kind of, and they are different. Alrighty. Getting tougher to come in here, huh? Weather-wise? I spent my morning on the phone with various state agencies and stuff. That was, right, I guess we're all caught up on file folders. Jumping right into the agenda, we'll approve the manifest of $32,989.76. Do I hear a motion to do so?
Fuller will second it.
Well, I guess I'll make the motion then.
You made the motion.
Well, I was gonna hand off, but I'll make the motion. Mr. Fuller has seconded. All in favor?
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Hal and I. Alrighty. Signature folder. Not a lot in there this week. Let's make a motion to approve the minutes of May 19th, regular selectmen's minutes, meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Hal and I. Second was made by Mr. Fuller. I'll make a motion to approve the May 22nd work session, minutes with the Department of Environmental Services.
I'll second it.
Mr. Hart seconds, all in favor?
Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Hal and I. Abatements in the folder, intent to cuts, application for property tax exemption for solar, elderly exemption. We've gone through all those items. Action folder was nil this week, mail folder. Either we had those yesterday or there's nothing there for today. We had a revised quote, certainly a revised quote for live feeds or the equipment thereof.
That's not it.
That's not that?
No, that's not the revised.
Revised, is that the phone? The whole,
You got the revised consolidated phone one, but I didn't see the live feed equipment one. And that's,
Nobody's seen it yet,
got it.
because I just got it.
aha.
Well, I've seen it. I met with Mr. Lenhart this morning, and I said, first of all,
Yeah.
huh?
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
I said, I thought you said that the camera was gonna be around $100, $150. He said, yeah, the problem is the way the board wants to do it, putting it on the back wall, I can't get that camera to focus, it's too far away, so it won't work. I said, well, what happens when we put it closer? What happens when we put it on a tripod and move it closer? He said, that worked fine. I said, good. Tripod and a cheap camera. That's number one. Then I said, I thought you said the microphones we had in the back room were good. He said, they are. I forgot all about looking at them. Because I got rid of the microphones. Then I said, isn't there a cheaper way to do this than buying a new laptop? First of all, can't we find a cheaper laptop? He said, not that can drive it.
Excuse me.
He said, I'll tell you what, I can give you a mini desktop that's used and reconditioned that'll more than drive it for a fraction of the cost. So now the cost is down to $798.
Now we're really cooking with automated fatty acids.
And all we need now is an internet connection to drive it all.
Yeah,
That's correct.
yeah, no, but the original price was nearly $3,000, and now for essentially $800. I think that's very doable, in my opinion, to be able to reach out to the public and provide that.
But we have to have the internet connection first.
Right,
That's the bullet's correct on that.
and that's still in the works, so,
Yeah.
but if we upgrade, this is clearly.
When we
doable.
do,
Yeah, when we,
we'll include this.
Because I got the computer and the camera fixed this morning. I got here and looked at it. I said, I called him. I said, I thought you looked at those mics in the back room and said those would work. He said, yeah, I forgot all about those. You can take the mics off.
How long is this good for? This price?
Probably as long as he can get them for that price.
roughly 30 days, most quotes, you know.
Yeah,
In most cases, the prices are going up and down a few bucks at most.
yeah, I think he's good with that for a while. He knows we've got to get the internet service in first.
Mm-hmm.
And I did talk to him, I don't know if I got this on tape, but I'll do it now anyway. I did talk to him a little bit this morning about my concern about the consolidated. I don't know if you listened when I was talking to Chuck about the toll call. Problem with that I have with the consolidated is they won't give me or haven't yet given me a solid answer on what's a toll call and what's not a toll call. What their answer is anywhere consolidated serves. Well, does that mean I use voice over IP, but I use Comcast? That's not consolidated serve, but consolidated serve lead. Is it a toll call to call my house or not? He's got to figure that out. He doesn't know the answer to that. My other thing is I got thinking about this a little bit. At least the police in Indiana make a tremendous number of calls to Comcast.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the state PDX system is part of consolidated or if it's considered an outside system. When I talked to Mr. Sylvan about that, he said, well, first of all, to put long distance on all 9 seats is $10 a seat per month. That's an additional $90. I'm not willing to eat the additional $90 a month. He said, well, why don't we just put, because I also was concerned about this phone here. He said, why don't we just put 1 seat on toll call for $10 a month? Initially, I thought that was kind of a good idea until I thought about the police in Indiana calling Concord and a lot of other calls. So I'm of the opinion that maybe we'd be better off. He gave us 2 different systems. One is a 100 over 100 and one was an 80 over 60. The 80 over 60 is a business system, and it includes all toll calls. So there's a slight increase in cost, but not $90 a month.
But Brian, it still says under his quote, it's still looking at 2.7 cents a minute with a $10 minimum. Even on that,
Not on the business one. He said the business, I talked to him, he said the business one will write it off. I'm waiting for an updated quote.
Okay.
I know what you saw. I saw the same thing.
okay, great.
I know what you saw. Anyway, the other thing Mr. Lenhart gave me this morning was that there is a private company, Chuck says he's aware of it, that buys line time off of Consolidated and does phone systems. He said they're much better priced. He just doesn't know if they come this far and all. He's checking on that for us right now. See if that's a possibility. So that's kind of where we are on the phone system. I'm not ready to recommend anything to you right now because I don't know which is the best bang.
And the 80/50, would that affect any of the other pricing that was involved here on the sheet? Or just strictly?
I gotta be real honest with you and tell you, I haven't studied it back again this morning,
Okay.
but my understanding was the base was a little more expensive than the 100 because it's a business proposition rather than I don't know what it's called, but anyway, they're 2 separate systems. And my memory serves me right, it was a few dollars a month more, but definitely not $90 more. So, but I gotta, to be quite honest with you, Mike, I need to sit down and do up a little bit of a spreadsheet to see if I can really do an apples to apples comparison of the two systems.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just know that when I've only got the original, quote from Consolidated here, so I know some of those things are gonna change. But there were various pricings listed throughout, yes, for the various items. So, with that, I didn't know if some of those individual items perhaps will change, which you don't know the answer to at this time.
And the individual items, no. The bottom line
Is the only,
the 80, I think it's 86 or 87, whatever it is, the 80 something or other.
$58 more. 70/80 is $50, $58
$15 a month more, which is, 1.5 seats on toll calls if we're gonna get toll calls at no cost.
right,
So, but I need to pin that down, more, and also I wanna wait for Will Linhoff to let me know about this independent company. And also, Mr. Fuller says that he's gonna hear from Spectrum tomorrow. So, I think I'm not ready to make any recommendation yet until I get more numbers.
a lot of information pending.
You asked about the chief's test move. I believe they probably discovered they can't do all the people they were supposed to be doing in a single day and stay in line. Chief said if he took it today, he'd pass it.
Okay,
He's kind of delighted because he's made an offer on a house, so he really thinks he's gonna pass this. Right on the Effingham Freedom Town line. And now that they've canceled the test for Friday, he's gonna try to close on House Friday. So he thinks, obviously, that he really is gonna pass this test, otherwise he wouldn't be buying a house.
Whose idea was it to cancel, to reschedule the test?
They
You know?
rescheduled it from this Friday.
They did, or he did?
State.
he doesn't have, control over the,
Yeah, he doesn't have control over them. I didn't get into the specifics on just why it got canceled. I suspect what it is they discovered they can't run as many people, plus, I think, that's the key word, I think, that probably they looked at it and said he doesn't need to go to the academy because he's gonna pass this and he's gonna pass the written, so we need to get the people that have to go to the academy done first, otherwise the communities are gonna scream at us about that. And so they've had to do some rescheduling. And I really think that's what's going on. He'd like to take it right now because he feels he's got no problem passing it. So I don't think he moved it, although he said he's not unhappy it got moved because now he can close on house on.
I'm not thrilled because we only have one certified officer in town. This is kind of dragging on. Yeah, full-time certified. We're, for all intents and purposes, I think of us as a two officer, police force, and, this isn't helping.
I was gonna have a conversation with him because, first of all, I told him today I wanna know where his vest is. Because nobody wants him out there without a vest, and the vest still hasn't come, which is one of the problems. There's no reason why he can't be with one of the part-time officers that's certified in training. That would reduce the cost and increase the coverage.
Well, yeah, I thought that was already taking place. I thought he was going to be riding with
Well, he is, and I wanna make sure he does it with some part-timers, so we don't lose both of our full-timers on the same shift. But the vest hasn't arrived. The vest right now is a problem.
Okay.
Payroll companies. Started doing some search today, and, I talked with Paycheck and I talked with Travantis. Travantis is back to the fact that they will do the New Hampshire retirement system, but they charge an additional $10 a month to do that. And we just have to set up the ACH approval with the retirement system, so when Travantis sends the notification of what we owe, the retirement system can take it.
Now, was Travantis the one we originally were looking at when we negotiated with Bank of New Hampshire?
That's correct.
Okay, great.
That's a guy by the name of Poole. I also talked with Paycheck, which is another operation. They're far more expensive, and they will not do the retirement system. I've got a call to ADP for a personal one-on-one. I've kind of made up a chart so I can look at who offers what for how much, and then we can sit down and make a informed decision whether it be the right one or not.
Do they send us like packages of what they do, or?
Yeah, but you still got to call and talk to them, but
Right.
the package doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense in some cases.
By design, they want somebody on the phone talking to you to make a sale.
For an example, it costs with Travantis to have them do your W-2s and your 941s, which is the form you watched me fill out yesterday. At the end of the year, they charge you a $50 setup, and then I think $550. I'm going off the top here. I think it's $550 a person. They also charge an additional $50 setup to do the 1099s because they have to reconfigure the operation to be 1099, and then the same price per person. The paycheck charges $2 more per person and $75 for each of the two setups. So at least at this point in time, Travantis is also most cost effective giving good service, but I'm only really into two. So we need to do 2 or 3 more before we can make that.
The $50 fee, for the 1099. What are they doing for us for that? Are they just sending them out, or what?
They take all of it, they put them together and send them out.
So they do all the tallying of,
And then the reporting.
So let's get some more numbers before we
Yep.
go there. I just thought, I don't know if you guys ever seen one of those. It's sit rep situation report. That's the state of New Hampshire sit rep state, and they do one of these daily on the COVID-19 process. I apologize for being tipped upside down on the back page. I used the other printer to do this, and I forgot to get it orient correctly. But there's a lot of information in one of those, they're put together daily.
now, where does that, do you have to go out, and fetch that, or are they sending that to you?
They send it to me, they also send it to Randy. And you can go out you can go out and get that yourself. It's not a big secret squirrel thing.
Do you think there's a link from the COVID site for that too, Brian, or is that like a separate site?
COVID is under the New Hampshire Department of Homeland Security. That is the New Hampshire Department of Homeland Security, so I don't know if you go to the New Hampshire Department of Homeland Security, you can get both. If you go to COVID, I don't know if you'll get that.
All right.
I guess the answer to that question. I just want to make everybody aware that Friday is the drop dead date for the first set of submission numbers for FEMA and CARES funding money. That is the job of the emergency management director. I know Christine has given him a lot of our information. I have no idea if he's done the paper.
Okay, so, you want to reach out to him, or do you want me to reach out to him?
Well, I was hoping we would see him today and we could find out. Otherwise, I'll reach out to him, and if I can't get a response,
Okay,
I think the only thing we might not have is the new Dropbox people.
well, we need to put that in. That's almost $1,000.
I think that's the only one.
I think it was more with shipping, wasn't it?
You know, like
10, 9, 7.
There's 967 without the shipping, then there's the shipping, then there's the cement, and then there's the labor for putting it in. All of that is chargeable.
Okay.
What is, FEMA will only pay 75% of costs, and the state or local government, depending upon the state you're in, is responsible for the other 25. CARES pays 100%. So,
CARES Act wins in my book.
well, you've got to, if they cover it, I think you got to go to FEMA first, but I don't, I haven't looked at that stuff. The emergency management director gets it daily from Homeland Security. Those people that did the survey. Planning board, I got this thing from the planning board about an hour before I came in here, maybe not even that long, where one of the members, find the email.
George Bull.
Okay, George Bull wants to know, he's concerned that the planning board is not getting the information, is what I gather from him. But he said, this is George Bull from the planning board. Board is wondering if there is a way we can receive applications and correspondence that is submitted to the town office. Currently, there is a Dropbox for incoming correspondence, but there is no way for the board to access paperwork at the town hall. We were wondering if there's any way to have an out Dropbox, some sort of way to get paperwork out to a member of the planning board. Just contact me at George Bull, get a hold of Teresa. Thanks. The outbox is right there on the wall. Aren't we putting stuff in there?
And if it's too large, I put it on the table.
I think some of the problems here are that the chairperson of the boards has a key to get in the building. So if there are other 3, 4, 5 members of the board, they are not able to access here in the central location. So I think what they're looking to do is have copies made and to be able to have a pickup for them. So I don't know exactly how they see this working. So I would go back to them.
They don't have an idea. They're saying, when stuff comes in, they know they've got to act on it within certain timelines. At this point, because George is taking the chair position, I understand, until the end of July.
Okay.
At this point, if anything comes in, they've got no way to know it and no way to come in and access copies for each of the planning board people.
Okay.
And they were open, they don't know what the solution is. They're basically saying, we got a problem, we're trying to figure out how to solve it.
I think the one thing I caught in there just seems like it was phrased incorrectly, and I think you just stated it, is that they don't know anything has come in. I believe the office staff makes a valiant effort to allow contacts all the board and let the chairs or the recording secretaries that work for them know that there's an application here. So in these last go-arounds of applications, I know they were informed that it was here. I think it's more to your point of, getting multiple copies to the individuals.
This is kind of no different than it was before Corona 19, because the only people that could get in when nobody was here was the chairs, because they had the keys. Because it turns out the only people who have the keys to those boxes, or have ever had keys to those boxes, are the chair and the recording secretary. So people like Mr. Bull haven't ever had an access key to that box. It's only been the recording secretary and the chair.
I got that.
So
The chair's not available, which means at this point the key hasn't been available.
Well,
I understand, it's a process thing, I got that.
Can't they just?
well, the key is available for the planning board and zoning board. The key is available through Nate, who's the recording secretary, who can come in and access this stuff. As far as the key, Teresa and George could work that out if he wanted access. I think the greater problem exists is making copies.
That was really the second big issue.
that's actually Nate, when he could catch someone in the office, made copies and still does here.
Right.
If there's nobody in the office, he makes them out in the planning board office on the copy route there. Albeit it's slower and it takes longer to do, but he's been making them out there when there's nobody in here. So I'm not trying to criticize, I'm just trying to figure out what the problem is, because it's no different than it was before Corona.
Yeah, I think the making of the copies is the potential to make them in the back, as you stated, and they have, the chair again has the key. So I think Nate has the key and the chair has the key. So those things could function as they did previously. It's the multiple copy distribution, and that's where I think it gets a little.
But even if Nate prints them all, there's still a distribution issue.
Right, because then every member of these various boards would need to have a key to access whatever new mailbox kind of configuration would go on. So I don't have a real good answer to that, other than to say that they need to probably find their own distribution method, seeing as we believe they can make these copies and access their materials. Now it comes down to how do you get them to individual members.
And I'm being stupid here. How did they do it before this?
They did it in a meeting when they sat in,
Okay.
and they would then give them out.
Okay.
So I think it would probably be a matter of the board members having to get here in some kind of a time frame that the office staff could play a supporting role by providing those things, or letting them in the door, handing them out. Say if they came in, they made copies, they left them here, accessible in the meeting room. Then board member number 5 calls up and says, I'm gonna come by. And then it's a matter of maybe putting them out or handing them out.
Is it, and this is the thing that makes it easier or more difficult, do all the members of the boards have the internet?
I don't honestly know. There may be 1 or 2 that may have some issues there.
Because I have no problem if the chair or the recording secretary wants to send to us what it is that they want sent out, and we can make up group email addresses, one for zoning, one for planning, one for budget.
Right.
And so you get the group, and you send it to them all.
Scan the information in and provide it.
But I would want the chair to send the information the chair wants to go out. I don't want myself or the office staff to have to sit here and say,
Well,
do I send this out or don't I send this out?
and to that end, I would suggest that Nate, once again, because for the budget committee, the ZBA, and the planning board, does that, and that person can send out to everyone, and there's no conflict of interest or proprieties being.
But that seems to me to be a lot simpler than people have to call up to make an appointment if they can get it.
Sure.
You know, it's a done deal. Like
That is a great idea. So that would probably be a good way to go, and, I don't know what the email is that Nate is using right now, so.
I have names. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
I have.
No, I'm just thinking for the computer, we have a computer here. Maybe that needs to leave the building in this time of need for this, to have it all go on to that computer, because all 3 of those boards are using that computer.
Oh, so, are we gonna make any more keys or not?
I don't
I'm not a
think
fan
so.
of that.
There's a limit to.
Yeah, 'cause we've got a pile in there now that we don't have a clue where they go, because people
Well,
and
yeah, door keys, we don't want to give them out. There's a process.
What are these flex keys?
Well, we have, one of the things I forgot to mention when we did some other purchases, because I'm overloaded with other things, wasn't thinking of it, but when we bought these mailboxes, I had asked the office to, when you purchase them, get a second set from the point of manufacturer, because these little mailboxes are impossible to duplicate, apparently. They're just so flimsy. So we got 4, at least with the ones I was involved in. That meant 2 went in our office in the key box, and then 2 keys got handed out, so if they got lost, we weren't, totally without. So it's difficult to make keys for those. And we're not granting access to everyone in the building. That's too much.
Right.
So I think Brian is on to a great idea here. And I think if Nate has to take the computer from here to work from in his capacity for these boards, I'm fine with that, because that would allow him to receive emails on the town's computer and distribute. So if everybody else is good with that,
Yeah.
Then I guess maybe, Brian, you got a handle on this. Do you want to take the lead in trying to satisfy the needs of?
Yes, what I'll do is I'll put together something, I'll see the board also, I'll go ahead and send it.
I'm not aware of any changes, but at one point, there was no protection on that laptop at all for the internet.
I'm not aware of any changes either because it's locked up, so I can't look at it.
I do believe you have a key should you need it.
It doesn't have any internet security on it, so it's gonna leave the building to be used to dial out, dial in.
Right.
We just need to make sure the security's on it before it goes out the door.
Okay. And that should be easy to coordinate, with the chairs of those respective boards and committees because it's two people. Actually, Teresa seems to be up and around now, so conversationally, she should probably be able to field some of this. And Dave Strauss is the, chair for the budget committee, sharing the computer. And Teresa's got both boards. She's ZBA and planning chair right now. So.
And there are no others?
There's no others at this point in time to deal with. Conservation Commission doesn't seem to have an issue, and there hasn't been anything going on, as far as I know, with the Historic District Commission, which is a whole nother thing, because I think they're down to 2 members, and effectively, in my book, are no longer a functioning board, because if you're dependent on the Board of Selectmen's representative to make a quorum, in my opinion, you're not a functioning board. And they went from 7 members or something to 5 and have 2. So, whatever their needs may be, that may be a bigger discussion.
When we talked about the phone line, so that's how, I'm not sure how we have in the past told the trustees of the trust funds to release monies to us. Okay, I'm talking about this Effingham Falls Cemetery issue.
Okay.
Did we send something to Karen Payne saying the board had approved the expenditure?
I believe so.
Last
She
week.
said something here and then we told her, yes.
Well, we did that last week.
I believe that got it
You
going.
did it, I just don't know if it happened. You made the decision to do it, I don't know what. First of all, I don't know the vehicle that would normally be used, because we never have done this since I've been here. That's number one. And number two, I just don't know if that vehicle has been used, because I've not seen or heard anything.
She made the request, they approved it, you write the check.
But they gotta send us the money.
She's gonna send you the check, or it's not just a transfer?
That's correct, we can't transfer out of that, it has to be a vote of the trustees.
Yeah, they write physical checks from the trust funds, from the trustees of trust funds. So I guess, there again, the conversation might be with Karen Payne on what is the best way to establish a process if one doesn't exist.
I wrote the letter to Atlantic Recycling and told them we were contesting their bill. And that the person that came up said there was nothing wrong, charged us for the travel and labor. And when we had Waste Management do preventative maintenance, they found that Atlantic Recycling equipment put the wrong oil in. They didn't tighten up a lot of the fittings that were loose. And I wasn't gonna pay for that. And I added to the end of it as a caveat, if there was a damage to the machine because they're ineptness, we would expect them to pay for the cost of repair. So
Very good.
it's gone out.
Yeah.
I have heard nothing back.
You have a way of doing that. I remember there was something to do with a propane line and a septic tank.
One of those left lines, I think you told them, yep.
I think the last thing, and I apologize, the last 2 were on, they were kind of late. We talked a little bit about the phone line in the kitchen and the phone line for the road service.
Yeah.
And I was a little reluctant to call Consolidated because I couldn't figure out if we were ever being charged for them, and I didn't want to wake them up to the fact that we weren't. As it turns out, we were being charged for them, and it was being added to the zoning account bill. And it has been ever since they've been put in.
No kidding, huh? Interesting. What about her phone out there? Is that another line, or
that's a separate line,
Interesting.
and these two have been attached to it somehow or other.
And nobody saw this like this.
Overtime,
Yeah, there's outrageous billing for that one phone.
I'm only giving you the information.
No, I'm detective.
Cleaning?
No, I wasn't the detective on that, Christine was.
Thank you.
It's only $25 a month to those two phones.
Oh.
That's because you have no toll service on them, and
The road line and the kitchen are the same number.
it's the same number. So it's one phone line,
Right.
two phones, and we supply the phones under the system, so.
Okay.
We're not gonna get an outrageous bill from Consolidated. We might get some outrage from the zoning enforcement.
Well, it's interesting because I had hoped that Gwen would be able to use the phone line for assessing clerk, giving her access to, a separate phone line for the work that she does.
If we go to the new system,
She will get a phone.
there's not any need to do that because it will hunt down. Because assessing really is a selectman's job. You are the assessor by law.
Right. But having her have the ability, if the phone is tied up in the office, because essentially there are three of you in the office and one phone line, should there be a second phone line that Gwen could access?
It will be under the new service.
There will be. Okay, that's super. All righty. Anything else, Brian?
Unless you want to do financial review out of order. You have a habit of doing things.
No. I think the financial review, unless you have something specific, we were going to probably do that as part of a work session because that's just trolling through the budget like we do is pretty monogamous.
I'm done.
All right. Before I shift over to Selectman Hart, I noticed that Sergeant McMillan has joined us here and probably overheard some of the conversation and has probably come to shed light.
No, but, well, gladly shed light on whatever questions you guys got.
Oh, okay. I thought you were here for a reason.
Is there air conditioning in here, or it's cooler than my building?
There's no air conditioning yet. I'm glad we...
Much cooler than my building.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the hot tin roof?
Yeah.
All right, well, I had kind of figured you were here for a conversation that came up earlier, and I know that we all had kind of some questions.
Okay.
And it was that the chief's test was moved to July 6th, and part of the conversation was, well, do you know why that happened? Like, was that overcrowding on the testing?
I'm willing to discuss that in non-public session.
I see. Okay. Then we can accommodate. Why don't we go through the Selectmen's comments, and I'll shift over to Selectman Hart.
I don't know if this needs to go in non-public. I just had a question on the legal.
Yep.
And it's just names. I don't know if we want to do it on a non-public or.
Anything with the legal, we can shift that to non-public, I would think. We're gonna be doing.
Oh, yeah, I just had a couple on there.
Unless you wanna get your information directly from Brian afterwards.
Well, Brian doesn't know the answer
Yeah,
to
he
one of
did. I
those
asked him.
questions.
All right, okay, we'll take it up in non.
That's the first thing, look at that. That's all I had from yesterday.
Yeah, right, that's yesterday. All right, Selectman Fuller, you've got plenty of papers in front of you.
Oh, actually, the only thing, no, none of it that Ryan's covered. I just had down, from a work session standpoint, or sometime today, we want to talk about waste oil, but we can do it now, we can do it back in the non-public in a work session, I don't care how you want to go at it.
I figured that was part of the work
That
session.
works for me.
Yeah,
And the alarm stuff, we're probably not gonna do today because Randy's not here, so.
right, so we can switch one to the other, I guess. All right, and that's all you have?
That is all I had.
Interesting, okay.
Do one quick question about the phone system. Are we going with the new phone system?
Actually,
Sorry.
the police department's gonna get the crank system.
I was hoping for the sound of Chuck, it just gave it to me.
Chuck wouldn't let me reduce it to tin cans and a wire.
Probably going to go to the system.
Okay.
Whether it's a system from Consolidated or not, is still debated.
Okay. I just want to make sure that the people that we're going to, they understand how our network is set up or whatever, where we're physically separated from you guys. So on a VoIP system, we would have to have additional new lines run specifically for those phones to our building. We can't bump off the switch and expect it to work because it's a physically separated network. So I just want you guys to be aware of that so they can take that into consideration when they quote the cost to install that on our side of the phone.
I think I originally saw the switch as one item, so that may be an adjustment.
A lot of the installation was waived, so we just need to validate that that would also be waived.
I mean, it's not a long run. I mean, if necessary, Chuck and I can do a weekend install again, but if they're gonna be here doing it, then let the professionals do it.
Well, again, I have the original, paperwork, which is probably not even valid in any stretch anymore, but they did have a, managed 1550 PoE switch, 24 port.
Yeah.
And the monthly cost was $57. Installation waived, so I guess that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, all their installation items are waived in both of their proposals. But we'll get clarification on it so we don't get caught off guard.
Yeah, because I just noticed that in the one that Brian sent out, I saw the switch, stuff like that. Now, I know, like, when we did the VoIP setup in Bartlett, it was all one network, so they just, like, plugged it in and they were good to go. And they were assuming that everybody was on a shared network. So they just replaced the switch with a VoIP switch. Everything else worked. But then it was like, well, we have to physically separate the police department's computers off it, so they need to make some adjustments. So if they know that up front, they necessarily don't have to keep coming back, or that may incur more cost, less cost.
Everything incurs more cost from what I've seen on the phone.
I'm sorry to bring more cost.
Now, wait a minute, I got your costs down substantially on your streaming.
Oh, now wait a minute, on the streaming,
That's technology, that's part of the phone system.
okay, but we didn't have streaming before.
Okay.
We had buffered streaming.
Right, it's like we didn't have streaming before, so I don't see how you reduce the cost on it. But we can debate that long into our schedule. You give this guy an inch. All right then, let's see. I've got some item here, and this is to do with a septic system. This came around, a week ago or more, and it was about, using backlots for lot loading. I investigated with the state and the installer on this. Everything seems to be doable. The practice is something that DES does, especially on smaller lots, often around the lakes, as this one is. The supervisor for installations for DES would like to see the smaller lots merged, as they would not be contiguous to the front property, potentially, if there was an interruption in the middle lot. And they like to see little lots combined, as do we here, because they're all non-conforming little lots. So that's in the works. The installer had no problem with that. He thought it was reasonable. And the other part of this is that there was going to be a sign-off by the board in using these backlots for lot loading. So I'm waiting for the, again, the supervisor in this department to contact me back with adequate or appropriate language to, one, essentially demand, or however it's require that the lots be merged, as well as that we're going to make notations in the property file here and on the tax card with Avatar that these lots can't be used for any additional septic, increases. So I'm waiting on that. Other than that, we're going to need to make an approval, and I figure when I get the language, if you gentlemen are okay with it, I'll just work with our town administrator to put the appropriate language together. But it all checks out. It's just a little unusual. It's not something I was used to seeing. You guys
Good.
all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll finish the follow-up on that. Then, as far as following up on health ordinances, I've been in touch with the one individual in the state that oversees septic systems, basically, that are installed or that are in failure or violations in that. And we're probably going to need to address him going into legal, like Tom says here, for some discussion, some actions that we may need to consult our attorney on to follow through with. And again, I spent about an hour, 15 minutes with the gentleman at state, the Subsurface Bureau, who provided some guidance on that matter. So I'll be taking that up with you. And other than that, I have reached out through email to our zoning enforcement officer, letting her know that we would like to see her have office hours again, not necessarily to engage with the public, but to have a presence in the town. It does appear that there's a lot of activity throughout the town, construction, things going on. So having her working from the office, access to property files, all that good stuff, and kind of keeping an eye on what's going on out there. It was part of a discussion we had earlier, so I followed up with that. Have not heard back, but I've asked Rebecca to join us next week at the late night session that we're going to have. And I think for tonight, that's really all today. That's all I really had to go over I can think of. So, unless there's anything else, Christine?
For this June 2nd meeting that you just talked about, is this a regular BOS or is this an additional work session?
It's a regular BOS meeting, Board of Selectmen meeting, as scheduled because of a request for proposals that was advertised.
Right.
In the opening for should probably have language like the bids will not be open before 5 p.m. So seeing as that went out, we'll convene for that, and if Rebecca's available, we'll have her in just to go over what we want to see her doing, our concerns. If she has any concerns in working from here, we can address all that at that time. All right.
So, but then it will revert back to the 9 a.m.?
Yeah, we will be having our regular 9 a.m. meeting on Tuesday as well, because
It'll be 2 meetings.
just because we can't give enough of our time. That's the kind of people we are.
Okay, so
We like it here. There's going to be air conditioning, I hear, Ian.
Oh, I'll gladly be here, then.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Warming it all.
I don't have air conditioning, so I'll come here. All right, I guess we'll go into non-public under 91A3L, and there was another component. Did we have an employee thing? Yep. So we have RSA 91.3 Roman 2A for employee, and 91A3 Roman 2L for legal advice. And with that, we will take a roll call vote to enter into non-public. I'll make the motion to do so. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please. Roll call vote.
All right.
Aye. I have an aye. And with that, we'll mute our little machine and leave it on because I guess that's easier for other folks to access back in. They know when we're back, yeah. So that seemed like a reasonable request.
I'll get it over here.
Conference recording started.
Oh, there we go.
All right, hopefully that stayed in play throughout the whole time. All right, I will make a motion to come out of non-public session.
I'll second that.
And Tom seconds it. No further discussion?
None.
None. All right, then. It's 3:08.
Wow.
We're looking to, before we do it, all right, Brian's signaling that we probably want to seal the minutes on this, and I think that's probably a good idea. Thank you, Brian, and I will make a motion on the legal issues or just the employee. The employee issue, we will seal the minutes. I will make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one. Pat, second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Chuck Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Hal and I. Now I'll make a motion to come out of non-public and enter into the public session. Legal. Oh, you want to seal the legal too? All right. I don't think it's the worst idea, so I will make such a motion, Brian. I'll take your advice, and I'll make a motion to seal the minutes on the legal discussion.
Second.
No discussion?
No more discussion. All right, roll call vote, please, gentlemen.
Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Hal and I. Thank you, Brian. I will now make that a motion again to enter into public session.
Second, Fuller.
Second by Fuller. All in favor, please say aye.
Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Hal and I. With that, I would say now I'll make a motion to end our regular meeting. And do we have it in us to enter into a work session?
What do you want to cover?
Well, we had on the books personnel policy was a leader, along with budget was in there, and Randy, we can't do the other false alarms, ordinance stuff.
Well, I think we ought to definitely review the budget stuff,
Okay.
and we could talk a little bit on the oil tank.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go through the budget stuff, because that's probably the most important to keep up with, I guess. We've kicked it down the road a few times. Is that, what do you want to do?
No.
Oh, Jeff, okay.
No.
All right. I want to come
No.
wherever we should be, anybody thinks we should be going. Yeah.
All right, so where are we at with motions?
I have a motion to end our regularly scheduled selectmen's meeting and enter into our work session. I don't know that that's a big deal, but I make a motion. Second by Mr. Fuller.
No discussion.
No discussion. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Hal and I. Fuller, aye. All right. Thank you. Ryan's with us here, town administrator, and we're all ready to go. So, I have not taken an opportunity to go through this, which was sent to us last night, maybe the day, yeah, was it last, wow.
What are you looking at? You're looking at the budget?
Yeah, budget, the actual. So, computer services, 10-6, was that really what we budgeted on that?
We did.
All right, so we're at least haven't crushed that one. Contracted services, we're over budget. We knew that would happen. We had a few things come up.
Now, I did do a printout on that, and two of the large amounts in there,
Could be shifted.
$500 is Snow Road Bridge. And then there's a $1,225 to White Mountain Survey for revised culverts.
Green Mountain Road.
So I think, those are the huge amounts. One's, the culvert revision on White Mountain Survey is $1,225. HEB on the February 14th for the Snow Road Bridge is $4,003.95. And then HEB on 3/13 for the Snow Road Bridge is $2,250.
Yeah, that was all through our contracting, I believe, for the bid specs and everything. All of that should get, we'd be fortunate enough to get the USDA grant. A considerable portion portion of that will be absorbed there. But I would say we could probably shift that White Mountain survey to Green Mountain Road project, because that's all going to be undertaken this year. So yeah, and that will put that budget item at least a little more in line. And as you say, Brian, we may see some other movement there. Thank you for printing that off.
I do have to say that in the overall executive budget, you're right on mark on what you should have spent to date. It's 41.7%.
Yeah, the town reports, how many of those do we still have a significant amount kicking around?
That box right there.
Okay.
I brought it back from the town meeting, put it there, and it hasn't been touched since.
Okay. Well, we haven't had
Yeah,
the door.
Actually, yeah, we haven't had door's been closed since, so it's like, okay.
So without, depending on the size of the report next year, should it grow in thickness and all, we pretty much didn't overspend on buying reports.
That's another line item someplace.
Town report, second from the bottom on the executive.
Oh, I see it. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's just why I brought it up. I was just looking for some consistency in the mindset here, is that we, that worked out well, the amount we went for this past year.
Yeah, by cutting back the way we did.
I think it was okay. Might be able to even reduce it a few more. But let's see what kind of hot items might be. I think a lot of it's going to be driven on what people think are hot items and how many people come to town meeting.
Yeah.
Because I held out 100 because general consensus opinion is that you wouldn't go over 100 people at town meeting. And the law does say you have to have sufficient numbers for those people that appear at the town meeting. As it turns out, only 70 people showed up, and I thought it would have been a hot year. So 30 of the reports were held out that didn't need to be held out.
Well, I would say, though, with that 30, there was probably an impact because the COVID had been circulating by then, and I think some people did stay away because of that. So
A lot of people will come in and walk in here and pick them up when they're doing a registration, what have you, pick them up from here. So, and when we've been closed, they haven't been, so we can't really get a true number, I don't think.
I don't think we should order any more.
Right.
But I think we should wait and see what it looks like before we decide whether to reduce it or not.
Well, I was just hoping it was a reasonable targeted number, and I'm fine with the same amount again if that's all we have left over, because I think if.
There's a few in the office underneath the window that it says before COVID, in case people came in and asked for them. I don't know whether we got any back from the library or not.
No, they've got like 6 or 7 of them sitting in their handout right by the door.
So, there may be even more around than we think.
Okay. All right. So I'm thinking a few things here, mileage, workshops, those items look like we're probably not going to hit those very hard because of the situation. That's an off year because of COVID, but that might help offset other areas.
Telephone.
Telephone.
Do a telephone change. We're already over on telephone. Kind of run rate.
Please, Chuck, I'm sorry.
We're over on the run rate for telephone.
Yes. And the other thing, when we get further down, the chairman of the budget committee has talked about trying to cut the electric budget. I know I had this conversation with one, I just can't remember which one. He says, they're not spending as much money. Well, if you look at the temperature chart, this spring was much warmer from the 1st of January until now. It was much warmer than last year. You have a tendency to burn a fair amount of electricity because of people using foot warmers and space heaters in buildings that are pretty cold. So I think he's kind of pipe dreaming.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Like you said, it was kind of lean on a few, the temperature thing too. But also, and I think it was me, because I pointed out somewhere, maybe it was in response to Mr. Strauss, was that this co-op type thing, it comes and goes. It runs for a while, disappears. We're getting a deal because everybody's in on it, but that's an annual thing, up for changes every year.
I'm not convinced that we're getting a deal because I'm getting no bill from the co-op. I'm getting a bill strict from Eversource, so I think the co-op could not give a better price than Eversource gave. Because that's the only bill I'm receiving this year is directly from Eversource.
All right, so we're not in the co-op this year.
We signed up to be in the co-op if it was cost effective.
Right. So that would have been Lakes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
My census has not been cost effective.
Okay, then, I think that would have been through Lakes Region Planning. And I guess maybe we should follow up to see if the co-op is in place, and somehow we were left off the rolls.
Oh, yeah, the switch might have not been flipped. We could have signed up, but we didn't do something, or,
I flipped the switches. I said yes and sent the letter and.
no, I don't mean us. I mean, somewhere in a processing system.
This is what I've run into in my time here, is occasionally you do everything, you set it all in motion, you look back 3 months later, and the people you left it outside of our municipal agency has never followed through, and potentially that may have happened.
But the cost this year is less than the cost last year. And last year I was paying Eversource for a transmission fee, because the only thing we're buying is kilowatt hours on the co-op. Still have to pay the transmission. So last year I paid Eversource and the co-op. This year I'm only paying Eversource, and the bill is less than last year.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Yeah, but again, that's something that bounces around, and you just don't know, so. To Dave's point, I'm not.
Elections and registration is in good shape, but it's going to be probably expensive to run the September and November election this year, given COVID problems. So
Potentially, did we get any funding for that?
potentially, yes.
Okay.
And Deanna and I have been watching it very closely. Secretary of State is still working a lot of bugs out. Some of the really small towns have asked if they're going to pay for voting machines under COVID funds, and that's being looked into right now by the Secretary of State.
Nice.
Whether that's going to happen or not.
Well, that's a conversation I did have with Deanna the other day, was with the anticipated jump in absentee ballots. I said, now, am I correct that the machine reads absentee ballots? And she said, does. Because that would be the other concern, is going through and doing all the tallying and counting off an absentee ballot. So if we could just run them through a machine, that would save time and money paying people, and accuracy is on.
The issues, as I understand it, about machines here is, first of all, you have to have two machines. In
Right.
case one quits during the election, you got to back up to plug in and start. The moderator is aware of a study going on to go to a new, better machine that has not yet been approved by the Secretary of State. And the moderator has indicated, and I'm doing this secondhand through Deanna, moderator has indicated she doesn't want to buy machines until such time as the new machine, new technology is approved.
Right.
And we can put money aside to do that. It would appear, based on some of the, webinars that Deanna listened to, that this is putting significant pressure on the Secretary of State to make a decision on the machine. But I think there's a reasonable possibility that COVID will buy the machine.
Well, the approval, because I met the town moderator in Concord, I guess that's probably close to 2 years ago, and sat through the demonstrations on the 4 machines that were coming up. 2 of them were the new technology that both Susan and I focused on. And my understanding of some of the holdup in approving these machines is the folks at state thought that they were going to be able to take their kind of software technology or whatever they had going in the moment and apply it to a new machine.
Yes, you're right.
And it doesn't work that way. So maybe that's been a little bit of the dragging of like change. I'm not sure. Secretary of State Galvin is not a young man, and I'm not saying that's why he probably doesn't want to embrace technology, but I have heard him speak, and staying all paper and all closed off over the years was beneficial at one point in time, because when these things first came out, there were some issues which the state of New Hampshire avoided. But I think we're getting to the point where it's time, and hopefully he sees that. So.
But anyway, that line item's in good shape, and so is the supervisor's report, in good shape.
Behind you. Go ahead, Brian.
So is the supervisors, but again, the supervisors are gonna have some costs with the two upcoming, federal elections, the primary and the election, so.
Tax collector. Well, before we jump down to tax collector, can I hold you on the election registration? I got a couple of items here. That books and publications.
Where are you? Election register, okay, yeah.
4140. We have no budgeted money for books and publications, yet those are items that are purchased in that office.
Yes.
I think it falls to office equipment and supplies.
That's where I have put it, because there's no money in the other line item.
I guess that would be the question is, should there be two lines here, or just simply the office supplies, which I don't know the answer to, and I leave that to...
The question is going to be, I'm gonna have to look at last year's office supplies and equipment and see if it increased by the same amount as the books and publications, because the books and publications are really required, even more so when you get into the tax collector, but the books and, for the registration, that's how you look up the book value of vehicles you're registering, for us to get our share of the excise tax from.
So I guess that's kind of my point. It seems like there's mandatory items. Whether or not it should be on the office supplies or a standalone is the question. And we probably should talk with Deanna about that. Because if we can make the case here for what we want to see on these, I know Dave and the budget committee want what they want, but there are certain things we probably should have discretion on. And office supplies, well, actually, it was election expenses. I know Randy Burbank, Chief Burbank, has been getting a bunch of supplies ready for potentially doing a drive-through elections at the fire station. I've heard that that's a discussion point between Deanna and Dan.
That must have come up just very recently. I know they're doing drive-through registration, the supervisors are, and that's all scheduled. This is the first I've heard about the election.
Yeah, Deanna showed me some face shields, complete shields that she has. Randy apparently has had an avenue to get all kinds of free.
Yes, he's got those for them no matter where the election's held, whether it's here or whether it's there or someplace else.
So I gathered there was going to be potentially a dry run through the fire station on how this could work. I don't know if that's weather dependent.
Deanna and I are working on room designs for this place if we have to hold it here.
Well, there again, you know, if you had a weather event, it may be problematic to do it at the fire station as a drive-through. So I think both avenues are probably worth looking at.
The November election, you could have a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Probably not going to have one in the September election, but it could be miserable weather.
And it could be just so cold that we're outdoors all day for.
I think they'd have to have that figured out from before, though, right? Because how are you gonna notify the people in town that they're changing from the firehouse to here now?
Well, that is part of the conversation I had with Deanna, is she doesn't have as much time. There's a September 8th, I think, election, so that might be the one they're focused on, but after that.
I think that everybody's looking to see how the drive-by registration with the supervisors work at the fire station before, you know, to see if that functions. It's only a 2-hour process, 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think it's a very short window.
Very short window, but we can see how that works. And if we think that can work with all the registered voters coming in town. Because we don't know what we don't know what mail-in ballots are gonna look like until they start getting.
And that gets into like election expenses, which is at 516 now versus the total budget of 635. We have to pay for those ballots, when they're, absentee. There's a mailing expense. So, the election expenses may not be in the greatest shape as we thought.
It'll likely go over.
Right, because postage is in there too at $355 on another line, so maybe that covers it, but election expenses, I'm figuring it's pretty close already, and we're not there.
But a lot of them will be reimbursed under the CARES Act.
Really? Oh, okay. All right, this was something I was looking at, thinking there's a lot of elections still to come, and the election expenses are where they are. Office equipment, approximately 10% spent.
Where are you still?
Still in, 4140, about the fifth or sixth item down. It seems like they're probably those monitors and changes we've made. I don't know if that qualifies wherever it does, or it should go under this line, and maybe it hasn't. Seems like there hasn't been a lot of expense here.
I will put it temporarily under that line. Normally I would have put it back up on the computer.
Yeah, I mean, office equipment in there, if we can put it on that line, I think if it doesn't hurt her, ability to function or get the things she needs, I think it's good to show expenses sometimes. So maybe that's.
The postage meter should be here and installed and operating by the end of next week. I had to get a multi-port this morning. That's the real reason I stopped by Lynn Hart. Actually, he gave us $20 instead of charging. I'll take that. But they said they needed that. What the plan is they will only send one person to install it and train one person, and then they expect that person to train the rest of it. Deanna and I talked about it, seeing how she will probably use it the most is going in her office. We've kind of decided tentatively, at least to put it on the table, it's kind of behind her. So if Christine and Gwen need to use it, they don't have to go down through the middle of the office. It's right there. The meter will have the ability to key in what department is running the postage, so that we'll be able to provide the postage back.
Nice.
So that should be up and functioning. I'm coming up tomorrow again, but because I got to look at I got to figure out whether we need to order the whether we can order the postage before the meter exists, or whether we have to wait until the meter exists in order to order the postage. The only reason we need an internet hookup for it, so the postal people can load the postage into it. So that's going to be like a once-a-month deal. So we don't need a.
No, I was under the impression early on that it had to go to the post office to be loaded. Nice.
Not anymore. We can.
Save the trip.
That's great.
They're loaded online. Use a credit card to pay for it. Actually, you have to use a intermediate vendor. You can't do it straight with the federal government. You have to use an intermediate vendor. And
Intermediate.
I want to say it's UniPost, but don't hold me to that. That's the vendor that sells you the postage. They buy it from the post office and sell it to you. The post office will only deal with a single vendor instead of 400 vendors.
Okay.
They don't want an account for every city, town, and business that has a postage machine.
Interesting. Okay.
So we're all signed up for that. That's all done. I suspect I'm going to need a serial number of a machine in order to tell it where to send it. I'll have to look at that tomorrow, but that will be up and running by the end of the week.
All right. Yeah, those are pretty much the target items there. Outside of, as Chuck pointed out, the phone. Phone looks like we're a little beyond halfway point there, and all of that world is going to be changing for us anyway, because that one's going to go on. Well, but it's also going to have an increased cost. Okay, so, yeah, just moving down, supervisors, the
Tax collector is only at 38.4%. Now, there'll be some other costs that'll go in there, pretty significant costs, because there's a cost of tax bills which haven't come in yet from the, Minuteman Press. And then there'll be the cost of the second tax bill from Minuteman Press. So that is a reasonable, reason for it being low.
And it looks like the phone is really off numerically here, financially.
Where are you, man?
You're in 4150 because you went right down past.
Page one, the second one up.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, some of that might be me having trouble figuring out what's divided out between election and registration and tax collector.
But what I guess what I don't understand, Brian, is it's a different number altogether, right? Because the telephone.
It should be the same number. Should be.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm good with what you just said.
Should be the same percentage. And sometimes it doesn't divide right. You know, it just, one's high this month and the other one's high next month.
Oh, yeah. The 475 is definitely not going to be accurate going forward, no matter what we do.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, sorry. Go right ahead.
Treasurer is way under. That's fine. There's no bank charges, and we budgeted $1,200 for bank charges. And there's no financial banking supplies, and we budgeted $1,000.
And a lot of that has to do with our new relationship with the.
That's correct, because we don't have to buy checks. We don't have charges now for HCH protection. A lot of that stuff is.
I like it. Yeah.
Now, the budget committee is at 50.8%, but that's a problem that I have. I own that one, because I did payroll one week and then I trained payroll the next week. And one week Teresa sent in a pay slip, and the next week Dave Strauss sent in a pay slip, and so they got paid twice for the same stuff. And he knows that, and he's agreed to. I take a check back, but he owes us the hours. So that's what that's all. And that was a payroll issue of training someone taught. I can see the look.
Yeah.
It was, what happened is Christine was doing the payroll, and I probably stepped out or did something, and she saw the pay slip, and they put it right in and didn't look to see it was done the next day. It had already been done the week before.
Okay, so I guess on the budget committee, my only question that I have is the office equipment and supplies has a charge of $35.
That's because Mr. Strauss wanted a book from the Municipal Association and demanded I order it for him. So he got charged for it.
I like it. I'm staying with that. These guys, they should add some lines. They've been skating pretty lightly with their budget, and I know it's all to show us how it's done, but they're...
Well, I got stuck with paying out of the executive budget for all the supplies.
Yeah.
But I didn't see an increase in that line item, but I got everybody's supplies.
I thought we did increase that. We took it away from the other.
At the very end, you went back to what it was.
Really? How did that happen? Where is office equipment and supplies? Was at 4,000.
Now that's all your supplies, that's if you need a new file cabinet.
No, I understand. And that was the same as last year? I have those budgets. Okay. Budget executive, right? Well, golly gee, Jethro, we got took. All right.
Now, I will also tell you that we have developed some significant savings in that line item, because I've started buying almost exclusively off the state bid list. And just paper alone is 17% the cost that we were paying for.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
we never did the state prices before?
State bid list? No.
Never did it
No.
that I can ever see. There's two things that satisfies, because under state law, if you purchase off the state bid list, and it's an expensive item, you don't have to go to bid again because we're a political subdivision of the state and it's already been bid.
Right. That's in our procurement ordinance as well.
So anywho,
If that didn't get increased, gee, I must have dropped the ball on that one.
yeah, you guys weren't paying attention to that budget committee
No.
then.
Well, we were
You
absorbing.
would take it off all the individual line items, never bothered to add it back to the,
Right.
yeah, we never did talk about it. We did take it off, but we never talked about
So
that.
you guys are gonna maybe have a hit on that line item, who knows?
Well, what we're gonna need to do, discussion-wise, I just wanna put this out there, is we're going to need to go through our budgets and get what they were for all these other boards, committees, and commissions prior, and tally it up, and add it up. Yeah, and budget committee's just gonna have to put that in their pipe and smoke it. Too bad.
Anyhow,
Whoa. Let's,
yeah, now it's happening. You've got two, that's gonna go over, and you got two real problems in it. Because under office equipment and supplies and postage,
now, where are you on this?
4152.
4152 is.
I
Page
see
two.
it ahead.
If you look at office equipment and supplies, it's already 165% spent. And if you look at their postage, it's already 152% spent. Mr. Strauss called me, all excited about that, and I said, I know you're excited about it, but where did you think I was going to put printing the inventories and the postage for the inventories? He said, oh, that's another line item in the budget somewhere. I'll call you back with where it is.
And this
Half an hour later, he called me back and he said, oops, we didn't put anything in the budget for that.
And this is a thing that now bothers me, because I repeatedly asked the question if the $750 was sufficient, because it's $450 for office supplies and equipment and postage, which we didn't see but one small, like $16.99.
That happened because the post office department last year screwed up and never billed us for the postage, for the inventories. We never paid for the inventories.
Okay, so office equipment and supplies didn't have a hit last year either, so
Well,
what did we?
I think he had it in some other line item last year, because that's what he thought he had it in this year. But that's what your overage is right there.
Yeah, but my problem is budgeting wise, these were things that I brought up and was assured by others that, nope, that won't be an issue. And now I'm kinda like, where did the money go for office equipment and supplies? What is that? What are we spending it on? Because that's exactly the same thing, we repeated the same amount. We had equipment and supplies at $415.53, and postage, which apparently in 2018 was almost $700, but I'm not seeing an actual in 2019, because that, like you said, we didn't get hit with that. So I guess we never caught the 2018 had these expenses, or it was dismissed by.
But anyway, that's what your two overages are right there.
Okay. All right, so. Yeah, I'm, the postage we can work with, we'll have to revisit
How are we
that.
working with that?
Well, we're gonna have to go back and see what this all is cost-wise as far as revisiting. As far as working with it, I have a way to work with it, but the office equipment and supplies, that one I don't understand in the sense of what did we spend it on. So a breakdown at some point in time to know what are we spending on so we can budget properly. That's my only question there. As far as postage, we're gonna be dealing with the postage meter, and we'll factor things in this year because of whatever profile was last year. We'll be able to look at that. Where we're gonna be able to pay for all this is quite simply in software support, because we have $2,500 budgeted, but we paid for that last year in advance, so we won't be getting a software bill for this year. So we are gonna have a $2,500 cushion in assessing, so that I don't think we'll actually go over. It'll support the postage and equipment. All right,
Can I stop everybody when we take 2 minutes?
Yeah?
Here, let me do some serious. You kept talking too long, Mike.
Happens.
Can't believe it.
Funny, you go through the budget after a month or two, you know, and it's like, yeah, stop it here again. Doesn't go away. Oh, man. The first budget I prepared, when we got through highways and streets, you were probably there, I don't know, and I just said, I gotta tell you, I object to this budget. I'm presenting it, and I support it, but boy, as a taxpayer, I object. All right. I'll change the other wheel later. All right, then I guess we're moving on past legal. We all know that.
Yeah.
Payroll expenses, other such as FICA.
Other goes up in the FICA, I just don't know how to move that up.
Okay.
The numbers add up.
Yeah.
The numbers add up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta ask a question,
Yeah.
because I told you guys, I think, yesterday, we talked, was it dental yesterday? Talked about what
Yeah.
taken out. I can't find where it says that they pay for their own dental, and I can't find where we've ever taken dental out. So, are you paying for dental?
No, I don't think that haven't been. Well, technically, we're not covering dental as a town. We cover health insurance for certain folks.
Well, you've been paying dental for as far back as they've been taking dental. If we are not taking dental coverage out of their pay, we have not been. And I don't have any trouble taking it out.
We haven't budgeted
Oh,
for
that's
it.
gonna happen, huh?
We haven't budgeted for it. Like, where's that money coming from?
It's coming out of medical. That's why I'm coming out of payroll expenses. Well, no, but somewhere down here we have medical. It's been coming out of that medical cost.
Insurance, 4196. That, the only way that would be happening is if Claudia had been hiding it. It was listed as liabilities to us as a cost, but supposedly it wasn't coming from that. That's what
Yeah,
you tell me.
Page 24 of the policy says that employees pay for dental.
Right, yeah.
That's not been happening. Ever. Well, I don't wanna say ever. Hasn't been happening as far back as I've looked in the records, which is 5 years.
Would they have to sign up for dental though? Or have it taken out?
Who has,
Sign up for dental,
who's receiving that?
The two cops in Claudia was.
So the two cops are now.
So, Claudia, pulling fast.
And it really came to light when she wanted to be covered as a retiree.
Right.
Dental. And I started going back trying to figure out, well, first of all, she did the proper paperwork and I sent it off to Health Trust. They claim they never got it, I guess. They're claiming it must have arrived and someone took it out of the fax machine or something because I had the fax receipt, so there was no arguing. I had to send it to them. They said someone must have taken it out of the machine, taken it to the wrong department, they got lost. Because they sent out the bill for Claudia.
Right.
And I said, whoa, wait a minute, Claudia's been paying the bill. They said, oh no. So I go to Claudia and said, you owe the town X number of dollars and cents. And she said, basically, stick in your ear, I've got the receipts where they've been taking an ACH out of my checking account. That resulted in us looking back at the dental, or not us, that resulted in my looking back at the dental costs. And I kept going back further and further, and it has never been deducted from anybody's pay.
I think Deanna used to get it deducted from hers, so.
Aflac only. And Claudia got Aflac also. Those are the only two that got Aflac.
So what's the policy, the carrier that the dental's under?
It's
For us,
It's Health Trust.
Health Trust.
Comes in the bill with the Health Trust bill.
What, say for these guys back here? Well, Ian, family man, married family, what's his cost? What is that what is the cost of going?
I'd have to go look it up. You want me to?
I hate to ask you, but yeah, please. Yeah, you might want to open that door.
Yeah.
Save you a couple of miles.
I'm figuring that out.
You know, the thought is, what's the cost if they have to go out on their own? What's the cost?
Well, no, it's under the Health Trust.
Right.
As long as they're paying for it, we're receiving it, and then we turn around and we pay it out again, it isn't really a cost to us other than processing, whatever that is.
Well, what I think he's saying is we are paying for it yet, the dental.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like we're taking it out of their paycheck.
That's what I'm hearing. So,
The choice is, if you continue to want it come July 1 or June 1, then it'll start coming out of your paycheck, and Health Trust can tell us what the amount is that's required to be taken out based on the pay schedule we have every week, every 2 weeks, whatever. And then we start collecting it, we start paying it.
right, we start collecting it, or they start paying it, basically.
They start paying it, that's correct.
The other option here is, what does it cost?
The only way I'll do that is if you want to up the ante on the 10% and make it higher. It's a pretty good chunk.
Oh, I know it is. I don't want to do that at this point in time. I know that is a big expense to us here, and that's what precludes me wanting to give it to other positions. But anyway, let's get all the information before we get in the direction.
The Ian, it's $148.06 a month. For Ryan, it is $43.89 a month.
All right, so worst case scenario is 150 times 12.
$2,000. Under $2,000, not much.
1,800.
Well, you don't have to make a decision, but I wanted to know it.
Yeah. But the numbers we've been working with to base the medical has been encompassing this.
Apparently. Now, that means your total cost for Ian per month for medical insurance is $2,851.15. And for Ryan, it's $1,067.09.
Ian is 28.
$2,851.15.
Yeah, that's 34 minus his 10%.
No. includes his dental, his long-term disability, short-term disability, and his life insurance, which you do pay for everything except the dental. The medical, what you wanna do is you wanna take $28.51.15. You wanna deduct $148.06 out of it, and then you wanna do 10%.
Okay, but I thought you said we were paying for this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if you're gonna take the dental and put that in at 10%, I'm sorry, misunderstood
Yeah, but that's,
you're right, 28.51.15. So 10% of that,
okay, so we times that times 12 equals that, then we minus the 10%, and we get, $30,792.42, almost 31 grand. So the dental at 148, right?
148.06.
4806 times 12 months, that's 1776.
Minus 10%,
Well,
depending on how you're treating it.
yeah, well, if he's paying, here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna have extra funds in there because the chief was late to the table, and he's not taking the family plan. Nobody else is aware of all this yet. I would say well, right, I mean, nobody is not aware of it, we're just being aware.
The budget, it was discussed in the budget committee last year.
It was to,
Yeah, when we basically put in the full amount and why,
yeah,
versus the fact we were potentially hiring Ryan at the time, and we didn't know what his status was.
right, oh, right,
So
right.
we put the full amount in.
Right, because it could have been encompassed the family. What I'm looking at is, obviously something's been amiss for a long time, and we don't know exactly what happened. We're going to be able to have, well, we're going to recognize a shortfall in that expense line. We're not going to go over. If I'm doing my math right, I would be willing, since this has all just come to light, midstream of the year, cover them, let them know that there's a change coming in the new fiscal year, because that's a hit.
I don't wanna give it and take it away.
Well, we have been giving it.
Yeah, but now we understand we gotta fix it. So let's fix it. I don't wanna be given something and then turn around at the beginning of the year and change it and say, now we're taking part of it away. I don't wanna do that.
Well, I would ride out the year, personally, and then look at where our compensation package is for next year. I'd hate to do it to them in midstream, even though it's been an error. I think it's been going on a long time. I mean, you're taking it away from them at one point or the other. I just see that it going into next year, they haven't had, the PD hasn't received a raise in a while. So they've foregone the last 2 years any real raises. If we get to the end of the year covering them with this, then at least we go into the next year, we can make it a compensate. We could do an offset, like if they're getting a raise, they won't be, it's gonna go cover this. I don't know. I know Ian has a bunch of kids, he's got a big family. I don't know.
Is this contract up every year, this health insurance?
Yeah,
Well, it's basically our personnel policy drives it, and our personnel policy says that the employee pays 10% of all the different insurances Brian listed, like short, long-term disability, medical. They pay 10% of that. They pay 100% of the dental. Because where we have not managed it, they've been paying the 10% on the one part, we've been paying 100% of the dental.
I just hate to do something midstream. I mean, there was an error.
Well, if it's,
Get that.
I mean, Just add it to the, continue paying it, only it's gonna be the 10% gonna apply to that too.
You're saying it's the 10% part of that?
Yeah.
It has to.
Oh, they've been taking 10% out? Oh, okay.
Because it's a whole ball of wax, kind of.
Okay, okay, that part I didn't realize.
So this is why I'm thinking, I think it's rather abrupt, and the error was on our side, and I get that that shouldn't really matter, but I'd be willing, because we're in a good financial position with the insurance this year, carry it to the end of the year, let them know we're gonna put it back to the way it was supposed to be, as you just outlined, it's in the policy. That way, you know, I think you got like 6 kids or something. I don't know. It's. What about if we phase that out?
Well, I'm rethinking it, Mike. I could go along with that. I'm looking at the amount of COVID stuff and the additional time that Ian's put into the whole program, and, you know, he hasn't been compensated for some of the stuff he's been doing.
And phasing it out gets to be a bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like, you know.
Well, I think we should in writing, notify anybody that's affected by it.
I agree.
We discovered it. It's already booked this year, but coming January 1, the policy will change. Well, no, the process will change to reflect the written policy.
Right, and at that point, at least we could be offering an offset to that unrecognized cost on their end by saying, okay, you guys have not received, you know, raises.
Salary increase, yeah.
So, you know, at least the salary increases could minimize any impact.
That would be something you could do with Ian. The contract you have with Brian indicates that his salary is fixed for 3 years.
It's fixed for 3 years. I haven't read the contract. I'm going to grab that from you, like I said. I think that's an area where we have latitude to amend, should we?
I just wanted to.
No, it's a great point. Thanks. Yeah. And again,
I just want to make sure in writing, we get it to them in writing saying, we've discovered it, but here's what we're going to do come January.
I haven't been on the other side of the table from an issue like this. It's kind of a shot, you know, or could be, depending on your, and so.
Well, that's why, like Chuck said, you hate to give it and then take it away, because being on the other side of the table before, that's a morale buster too.
It is. And that's why, at least, like Chuck's saying, we put it in writing, it was recognized, we carry them to the end of the year. At least if there's an impact financially, there's a potential offset because there'll be raises due to that department. So we'll revisit on this, I guess, but we definitely are going to need to set the groundwork to notify.
Yeah, definitely notify.
Gee.
And we might be revisiting a 3-year contract Tuesday anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So the dental issue, we skipped ahead, so let's.
Yeah.
Well, I brought that up because I thought it was on the payroll expenses when I was first starting, that's why. But your payroll expenses are in line with what they should be.
Yep. Yeah, that does look good. Again, because of the short year for the chief's position.
Historic Commission hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on, or I certainly did last year. Interesting thing there under that one, though, Brian. I'm sorry to cut you off here. The very last item, I don't ever recall seeing that one before. Travel.
Typically, we've covered travel when you go to workshops and stuff.
I think that's mileage.
Okay.
It's a mileage item.
Is what it really should say there, is that based on what they put in for when I was here last year, that's mileage.
Can we change the word?
To mileage?
Yeah. Perfect.
And I kind of cut you off there, Brian. I'm sorry. You were touching on something after payroll, going into Historic District Commission.
I just said Historic Commission has spent nothing. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. Planning board is really, I was gonna say is really in good shape because the secretary's salary has got the same issue that it does on the budget, so.
Yeah, I don't see anything in there, stuff that we would be going after.
Nothing.
Same with, zoning board.
Yep, great.
Same with the zoning officer.
Yeah, the zoning officer should be coming back to, that's a discussion we'll be having next week, getting her back.
The only question I had there is the phone seems higher than any other phone. Why would that phone be higher?
Because the other two lines are on it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was the
Yep.
discussion from earlier, right?
Yep, good.
And that's why that's where it is.
Yep.
Okay. Municipal building. We've got the electricity there that's been hashed over. Heating fuels, probably in pretty good shape there because of the lean winter. Maintenance and supplies, salaries. That more or less seems in really good shape for maintenance and supplies. But then that's a budget item. Do you have the money in the checking account? So when we go forward, if we do some big ticket items for buildings and whatnot, we're probably gonna have to keep an eye on our actual dollars and cents in the checking account, because we have, money we could draw from the trust funds to cover big ticket things. All right, so cemeteries, we're probably gonna start getting some billing in, at least from our landscaper. He's done some work out there. I went through the, Woodland Cemetery, and I really didn't recognize where a lot of tree line would need to be removed. There was a discussion, you remember.
I went down and looked at it right after that. The only stone wall I saw was the one when you drive in.
Yeah, I didn't,
I went up and I parked and I walked into the woods on the backside. There's no stone wall there. Okay, good. It wasn't just me.
yeah.
But there are some shrubs and some trees that could probably be cleaned back a little.
Yeah, nothing too significant at all.
Now, your insurance looks high, but it really isn't, because the liability and workman's compensation unemployment's a one-time payment. So that's why that's 97.2%, because it's a one-time annual payment.
Okay, so you're on page 6?
Great. 41.
Well, he's got his driveway. We're on 4196.
Yeah, and that had the, insurance, dental and health insurance, which the health insurance was in good shape. Liability, you're talking
Well,
liability.
there's a $7,000, a little bit more than $7,000 that I'm going to have to pay. I had to argue heavily with them, but when I went through, the reason I discovered the dental is I was going through what they were charging me, because they had all this Claudia dental on it. When I got through it, they think I owe them $11,713.29. I think I owe them $7,794.23.
Owe them? I guess probably, unpack that for me. How do we owe them $7,000?
Because I wasn't paying them because I didn't like the bill.
All righty, now I'm with you.
The way you get somebody's attention.
Yes.
What I'm trying to tell you is health insurance will be 17 instead of 10.
Gotcha. Right, and we're still in good shape on that.
Still in good shape. So I'm just telling you, you're not quite as good shape as you think you are.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, that line, when I looked at it at $10,000, didn't make a lot of sense, but
that's why, because they've been arguing with me, and I've been arguing back, because I'm not gonna pay the dental insurance twice.
This is why it's great that Dave Strauss comes in and winds you up. I give you a hard time, wind you up, and then you take it out on these bill collectors. It's a beautiful system.
You don't wind me up near as much as Dave does, because he comes in a high gear to start out with. At least you work up to it.
You're just saying that because I'm in the room. I know your game. Tom, did you have something? No. Okay. Oh, yeah. We hope Dave's listening. That's fine.
Okay.
He likes the attention. Liability workman's compensation, that's the one you're saying it's a one-time
It's a
shot.
one-time shot.
And did we have a final, you know what I'd be interested in for budgeting purposes is if this increased from last year, what that jump was. I know we didn't go over budget, and I think we held everything to the same number, but it seems we're within $1,000 of hitting that target. Did that jump any from year to year?
Well, it'll jump at the end of this year when they do the audit of the payroll, because we took Gwen off contractor and put her on employee. And we gave raises in April, so it's gonna go up a little bit anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's, there's,
32 is gonna be near probably your target.
it might be higher, especially if there's any built-in increases on annual or, I don't know if there's any liabilities, workman's comp, if any of that goes up. Workman's comp gets set, unemployment probably gets set. But yeah, I agree, Chuck, I think we'd be.
Workers' comp is normally a pooled insurance anyway, because of the COVID thing, and literally employment's been down for several months, claims would have been down. So that means the pool experience should be pretty good this year.
Unemployment insurance has got hit pretty hard, I think, right?
Yep, but the workers' comp part of it is the biggest chunk.
Well, since this is a variable, it's unknown to me where it's gonna go, I just think we all probably pay attention to it. I don't know what to do about it. Seems like we're on track there. Pretty good with our whole bottom line number for insurance.
Are we ready to go to 4210 police?
Why not? Those guys. Sure.
I've given some thought to, I put, I told you I was gonna do this, I put COVID stipend in their line item. I've given some thought to that, and I think it would be better if I put it under, a line item of its own, the COVID income stuff, and get it, so you can track budgets based on what the budget was.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I'm going to take it back out of there, and put it back. It's gonna be a wash amount. There's not gonna be, well, it'll be a wash amount on the police. Cause I've got all the proper paperwork on that one. But, I think for purposes of budget, I'm gonna maybe move it to a bottom line item and call it, something like COVID-19 expenses. And then maybe break it down a little bit. But I think I'm gonna get it out of it.
Yeah. I could go there.
But even with it in there, they've only spent 31% of their budget, so they're in good shape.
The latest fuel bill is not reflecting where we were going earlier in the year. Have we kind of slowed down on patrols?
It might just be that they haven't given it to me yet.
Okay, because we were on track to go over budget there.
Gas has been down too, though.
Well, that's true too. But it doesn't seem like it's jumped from where it was a time ago.
That's the WEX bill, and that traditionally comes in the very last of the month. They did tell me that the cruiser that broke down over the weekend is probably going to be around 1,500 to 1,600.
Do we know what went?
Do I know what?
What broke?
Well, the air conditioner compressor broke the serpentine belt, which took out the both upper and lower radiator hoses and the air conditioner metal pipe that has the coolant in it.
Huh. Okay.
I haven't seen it. That was the report I got.
Sounds pretty much how they make things these days, dependent on this and that, so you can't probably even get rid of the air conditioning and make them sweat. So, telephone looks okay on that line as it stands right now. Training, we got the scoop on. Uniforms are good. Vehicle maintenance, even with this repair, if we get lucky and nothing else happens for the rest of the year, or only one other thing, we're probably okay. What was I looking at back here? Oh, software. Software,
That's the IMC, that's an annual.
Yeah, is it a one-time?
Yep,
Okay.
annually though.
Right, well, that was my thing, I was concerned there might be an additional expense. Okay, everything's all right through all of that for me. Anybody going into fire, rescue, like that?
The ambulance is on track too.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's a constant anyway. Good or bad, however you want to look at it. What's Randy's situation here? Med supplies are high. Some of that's going to be COVID too, Ryan, you think?
Medical supplies will probably get some of that back in COVID. Yeah. Now, the new equipment's high, and that's because of that part of that's because of that Parsons Field, part of it's because of COVID.
Telephone's low there. Interesting. Training's probably down. Truck maintenance, well, it's only, with those size of those trucks, any day they can break the bank on that. Emergency management, our generators, that's on track, I guess, for some repairs to still come.
That's probably gonna go a little bit over, because that's that routine maintenance. You get routine maintenance in the fall also, but it has the need to add those pieces of equipment to it, so.
Forest fire warden. Highways and streets, road contractor, that is a big bill.
So calcium's been put down, but we haven't been billed for that yet, right?
Right.
Partially put down.
And that's spot right. Crack sealing's still coming. Road reconstruction, not sure what happened there, what's that bill is. Not sure what that is. And roadside.
It looks to me like they have been supposed to be under road contract, and I just missed it.
And then, I'm probably gonna quiz the same thing on roadside mowing and clearing, Brian. $780.
I think that there was actually something included in one of the bills.
Yeah, the guys went around cut all the branches on
Okay.
the roads.
Yeah, I think there was something included in one of the bills for $780 for that.
I remember the job was done, I don't remember the month.
Geez, I had really hoped to kind of snag some funds from that road contractor line to do some work on Green Mountain Road, but. All right.
So do we have, other than the concrete bill and the steel grate bill, do we have all the Pine River stuff in there?
I would think that last round came in, probably took care of pretty much everything.
Okay.
There might be some other bills still coming in on some little, the grading would probably be the only thing that might still be coming in. And I think most of
Talking
that.
about the Pine River Road?
Yeah,
Well, you talked about the two abutments, cement abutments,
you gotta pave it.
the paving, and the possibility of two more culverts.
Yeah, the two culverts are part of a permitting process, that's gonna be way out. The paving is July earliest,
You don't
and,
have to dig the pavement back up again if you put the two culverts in.
No, it's a different, it's going, they'll be, Joe.
there'll be different locations.
Okay.
What Chuck was mentioning was the concrete and the, beaver device, as bills that haven't been recognized yet. So, I think we get our calcium down, and I'm gonna tell Ron that we're not grading. it goes down, we're going potholes for a while. I mean, if we have ditching material to be picked up around town, but the, any more culvert installs and such, I just don't, I mean.
I don't see it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put the brakes on until next year for culvert, resuming some of the culvert replacements, and they're out there, we've got a number of them. But there's no money to be done there. If we were to salvage some money from materials, which we could do, and if that 23 grand for a contractor is gonna have a hit, like Chuck said, you know, we're gonna need that remaining 17.5 or whatever to get through the rest of the year when we issues.
Because you're still gonna probably have to buy some winter road materials in the fall. And the winter road contract still has one more payment.
Right, and what I'm looking at is the road contract, they're essentially labor money. The materials money is where we have some leeway. Crack sealing, if we don't use it all, we have a little bit there to draw from. Roadside mowing is where we could probably find some money to do more work. And the winter materials, we're probably going to be able to take some money from that because we won't need that much to get us from the contract date starts in November 1st, runs through, so January 1st, you're playing with that.
The contract says one thing, and what we do is another thing.
Okay, because,
You remember I divided, the contract says 7 months,
right,
and it should say 6 months. Because the first payment I made him, I just divided the total contract by 7, and it was at, I don't know, 37,000 something instead of 40,000 and something.
Yeah.
And, he had a canary.
we run through April, November to April, I believe, is what I remember seeing in the contract.
I think you get one payment in December, and that's the one payment that's left. And then you pay through May.
Through May. Okay, that's the 7 months. Because I know I've had the conversation with Ron Evans, circling around again, there's certain few people in town want to push this whole bonding and, you know, issues, stuff back in the day, 2018. Ron hasn't supplied me with this, but I asked him to. He says this is going back quite a number of years, but there was a snowstorm in October. I remember I was out plowing, there was a foot of snow. The contract doesn't start till November. The Board of Selectmen, according to Ron, asked them to go out and do this, and they were gonna get FEMA funds, they told them to pay for it. Ran up a bill of about $13,000, and no FEMA funds were ever, well, at least if the town got them, Ron never got paid, that invoice still is outstanding. He's just let it go over the time. But if people want to push the idea of they want tit for tat, he says it has a $13,000, you know, you want me to do, you know, pay for what? You, fine, I'll deduct it from the bill and you're going to give me about an equal amount in cash. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure the contract starts in November because of that discussion alone. Anyway, we might have some funds in the sand salt supply if we could divert to the Green Mountain Road project when we try and establish a base. Or we can look at just surviving whatever we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. We don't know if we're going to get washouts or...
So where are the 2 replacement 5-foot culverts going? They gotta come out of here too, right?
That's the Green Mountain Road reconstruction's a separate item, 30 grand carryover.
Okay.
Juggling it all. It's all up there.
Okay.
All right, so there's not a lot to be done on the roads at this point except to have discussions with Ron, keep the calcium down and put the brakes on grading unless we give the okay.
Till fall.
Right, it'll be a decision that's done here at this table, not at the contractor just saying you got complaints. Dog officers, animal control, that's all on track. Health agencies, again, the brakes are on that one unless somebody can say why we, I just don't.
Where are you?
He jumped way ahead.
Okay.
We went to road contractor, right? And, I'm sorry, I did go right ahead. I apologize to everyone.
Give me a second to catch up.
Yeah, no, that's my bad. We, street lighting and ongoing.
Well, that bridge maintenance is where you told me you gotta go back up there.
Right.
You told me to put one of those costs from, one of the survey companies into bridge maintenance.
So you put it into bridge maintenance. I said to put it into road reconstruction, I think, or Green Mountain Road. Green Mountain Road is what I said.
You want to, I thought it was the Elm Street Bridge.
We had one bill from HEB, and I forget the amount, and that was working on Elm Street Bridge for
That's this bill.
Oh, that's what that is? Okay. I thought you said you moved something else to bridges and it had to do with the culvert.
Yeah, I did. I took the culvert back and put it in road maintenance.
Okay.
But this is HEB, Elm Street Bridge.
Now, that's fine.
But there's no money in that line item.
There will be once the project starts, because that's going to be that warrant article. We have a signed contract for Elm Street with Mike Hanson.
So that was it, that's the carryover funds that you carried over from last year.
Right.
I want to say 91,000, maybe 91,000 to change.
Oh, I think it's more like 222.5.
I don't know.
It's right here, Green Mountain Road, final
I thought this was
overlay,
Elm Street.
Elm Street. Yeah, we have a bridge contract for Elm Street. Where is it not listed here? But we have one. We have a contract for. Last I looked, it was at $222,500 out of $225,000 original. So it's not being reflected here, but we have a signed contract, and that was carryover.
Oh, the carryover, you signed the carryover.
Yeah. So that should be.
So we should put that amount in as that budget.
Yeah, that should be on the other one, 4901, I would imagine. And if we have to work on getting that paperwork together, so you can track it back to as far as.
Well, 4901 of this year's warrant article.
Okay, so then.
Not last year's or the year before's.
And bridges could be Elm Street Bridge under 4313. Just have Elm Street in there with that money.
Okay.
So that's what that 1250 would apply against if we get that moved in there.
Okay, I'll look that up and add that.
Okay. Street lighting is the battle we'd all like to fight, but nobody really feels it's worth it.
It's over budget.
And it's going over budget this year.
It should be 41.6%, it's 52.
I'm all for going around town and finding ones we don't need, see who screams. Start with this guy down at the end of School Street.
He won't scream. His wife might, but he won't.
I can't hear her from where I live.
I'll send her over.
All right, solid waste collection. We're disputing a bill, the repair line outside of that looks.
It is not in this line, so.
Right, it's
31%, and your 99% is I paid for the, household hazardous waste day.
The telephone is amazingly not keeping track with other telephones, so that one looks good over there at the moment. The salaries we're still looking for, I don't know how hard we're looking for that other individual that we're going to need at some point. And maintenance and repairs right now looks good. I hate to even bring it up. Solid waste collection or disposal under solid waste collection is fine. Disposal, containers. We're looking pretty good for this point in the year. Then we have the others, which we haven't seen anything on electronics move. We haven't had Freon come into play yet.
I think the electronics truck was backed up there last week.
Okay. I think we should see something sooner or later than that. Glass has been doing good for us. Metal is not a moneymaker, but tires, nothing on tires yet.
I think that truck was there too.
All right. And then used oil, we haven't initiated that program back in play. So again, the numbers there look really good. And Chuck, you had said that our intake of money.
So Chris pulled the folders, so I can go back and check the 6-month period, September 25 through March 26, when we shut down.
Yeah.
Just happened to work out 26 weeks. So I got the income totals for that. I just need to go through the actual invoices and look at the hauling costs and basically come up with a comparison to say, okay, based on the revenue we brought in, roughly where are we relative to the overall cost. So I hope to have that, well, depending on what time I leave tonight, I'll do it tonight.
Don't kill yourself. I know how it goes. So there again, I think we had an initial discussion that we were getting. We originally were hoping to get about 75% as a recoup, considering we do have some stuff that goes in at no charge and all like that.
Yep.
And you had some financial numbers that kind of supported that we would.
Well, since we've opened back up, we've been averaging over $400 a week. So, you know, I think in the 3-week average we're like $460, $475 or something like that. So we appear to be on a pace of about $400 a week in demo revenue.
And then
There's minimal white goods, minimal tires. I mean, it's like 95% demo.
And then you get into slow January, February, March, whatever.
Yep.
So
That's why I want to run that 6-month period, because that's what it was, fall into winter, over the winter. I want to get an idea of what it was running then.
And unfortunately, we don't have summer numbers because that's when you figure most demos. So we could be looking at bringing in about $20,000 thereabouts.
Yeah.
And that would go to that special revenue fund, which Brian's working on some DRA grants as well. Great. That would be a big swing in our favor. Solid waste landfill cleanup, we didn't go over budget at this point anyway for the monitoring or PFAS testing at this point, which is nice. All right. Now we're down to dog officer, all that is
The question on the testing. So
Yeah.
that bill we had for that person that we missed last year,
right.
would that have gone in underneath the testing line?
I
thought that bill was like $580 alone.
Oh, it was even more than that. It was either $600 or $700. And it would go on the PFAS testing.
Okay.
So that hasn't recognized there. I guess you'll have to find out where that ended up.
We signed off on it a couple weeks back, I think.
Oh, yeah. I saw a couple of things for PFAS testing. So I'm not sure. I think maybe those billings didn't get recorded there.
HEB was the one that facilitated that, right?
Right. So maybe they were under
stuck in underneath. It might be under the professional services when it should be over here.
Right. The PFAS testing, there was that well testing, and I think that they might have gone out for if it wasn't the landfill, they might have done something for us in PFAS testing this year.
I saw that.
They might have ended up under professional services and not under 4325. Good catch.
Chuck, I just think of something, sorry.
Okay.
You said that, what we collected on the demo was, 460 something, are those numbers skewed at all because we haven't had people coming in? Now
Could be.
everybody's coming.
Oh, it could be. We don't know. Well, that's one of the reasons I want to take a look at the 6-month period, right up to the point in time it closed.
Right,
That was over the winter time period,
okay.
okay? And I was just starting to do it with the calculator while I was here, but hold on 1 second, and I will tell you what that averaged, because I've run the numbers. That was $736 a month average for that time period. So we're actually running less than what we were for that 6 months, September to March.
Now, was some of it driven, I can't remember timeframes, but you increased the prices and also mandated the stickers. Did that lower the number of items that come in? That was the idea.
I think what happened was the pre-notice we had out there, people unloaded heavy last summer, knowing that the price was going to increase. So we were not expecting to see much of a load in the fall or over the winter. The fact that it was $4,400 plus in 6 months, $700 a month, might not have borne that statement out. We then shut down for COVID, and we've opened back up again. Since we've opened back up again, because people were screaming they wanted to clean stuff out for spring, we're averaging high 400s a week.
So is what you're saying that the tonnage has basically not decreased?
I do not know
That's
what I need to go through and pull here.
I know where Brian's going. He's like, hey, you were getting this much because you were getting dumped on. You dropped some. And part of what Chuck's saying is that it's not a true, bell curve because we had a deadline where people just, took all that stuff in and dumped it on us for free. And then we started keeping track. So, all the numbers are skewed from both of those events. One was the big push to get rid of what you had. The other one is the potential we were being dumped on. So those two numbers are kind of hard to judge until the new normal will be, it needs more data, really.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I'm thinking about a little bit is that the profits from the transfer station are now going to go into a trust.
Special revenue funds, right. Separate bank account altogether from everything else. So, it's held separately.
That means that if you did not reduce your tonnage going out, you're going to increase your costs because the special revenue fund is no longer going into the general fund to offset costs.
Well, it's not changing the cost. What we budgeted for is still the budget. It's still what we expect to see, for.
But you haven't got any money going to the general fund to offset that.
We don't have money going to the general fund for that, but we haven't given up the money. It's just in a special account so that instead of being spent by previous boards on anything you just willy-nilly want to do, it's new revenue because we weren't getting that money. So it was never going to the general fund before. It's new revenue. We weren't charging. So now this money isn't going to get spent on any shiny object we like. It'll be held in a special account. It can only be used for the transfer station. So when a compactor goes, for example, they're going off at about $25,000 for a new compactor. If we bring in $20,000 in year one, I mean, there's a road to sustainability for the transfer station.
I guess I'm asking the question because I'm also trying to figure out what funds. The funds that are collected for the solid waste items that are put in that are chargeable are going into this special revenue fund. Right. Is the money that we're getting from NRAA going into the same
It should be moved in there because of the revenue portion.
When I'm trying to figure this out, I just wanted to. Yeah.
And that's part of the projection is some of that money from metal, which wasn't a whole lot, would hopefully be being moved into the special revenue fund, yet we shouldn't be going over budget because hopefully we budgeted appropriately to compensate for those costs because that was part of the conversation when I put that portion together. It's like we're going to recognize an increase in these other container lines. So hopefully, if we did our math right, everything should be fine. And this is just a completely new source of revenue that was never captured before, and it wasn't going to a general fund. It just didn't exist for the most. So we should be.
Yeah, and I want to respond again to the question Brian asked, because when I answered it, I think I confused the issue. we're probably bringing in more demo right now since we reopened, because we're averaging over 460 a week. If I go back and look at the 6-month average weekly, so 26 weeks, $170. So we are definitely up.
With any, you know, I guess you could probably anticipate, once school would have normally let out and vacations went, we would have a rise because people are up here doing projects and stuff. Maybe we're ahead of that now, maybe there are more people here, but I still would think there's an increase to be seen through the summer months that could compensate for the off-season. Hopefully still hitting our 20,000.
Well, I might not see as much stuff too going in because of COVID, with the people coming up out of staters. They're not gonna be dumping their trash if they're not here.
Well, I think they're coming up. That's the thing. I think they were an escape destination. But, we'll see.
Yeah. Drive around town and you look at all of the out-of-state.
Yeah. There's a lot of activity. That's why we're trying to get Rebecca back in.
We're leaving out a lot of them too. Happy friendly.
Yeah, well, you know, you come up and if you got time on your hands, it's not your project, so.
And that's what a lot of people did. They were housebound, so let's go clean.
True, yeah.
So the health agencies is my next stop here, which, you know, again, my fears are paying those too soon. We certainly need to wait until after our tax bill cycle goes through, find out where we are with the school and other bills before we can really contribute to these. And I think it was Chief Burbank said that he believed there was money coming from the federal government for agencies like this, which I would really like to be able to confirm before, you know, you totally dismiss that they need funding. But they're the first ones to really go without, I'm afraid. Anybody else thoughts on that or anything?
I'd rather
Leave
not
it
make
alone.
this decision today. I'd rather wait until after we are into July and we see what we collected.
Good enough.
Yep.
General assistance, we've got some change over there, and that seems to be, you know, going forward. The line's being held to this point. Meals on Wheels, which seems to be
I wouldn't expect that to be higher, but
yeah,
it's pretty much on.
yeah, it's on target. There was a cut there by the budget committee. Parks and Rec, we're expecting that to be a $2,000 for the year. And that should probably be it for the year. So there'll be some savings there in a sense. Of course, you don't have the programs. Library is really not my area of concern. The library takes care of itself.
And Dave's met with Grace, and they talked about how to pull the numbers that are required for the budget committee.
Okay, and then I would think, again, with signage and stuff there, maybe they have enough money in their budget this year to probably tackle some of their more pointed concerns that are more directed to the library than repairs and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't run programs, so you might as well spend the money on, because we're having a shortfall in that contractor line. Patriotic purposes, that's gone through round one. I don't know if all the invoices are in. Conservation Commission is just going to be hitting stride soon. This is their time of year where they kind of start doing their thing. Town Forester, same. Debt services, not yet. Cross your fingers. Warrant article items will be going into full stride. EMS contract is probably not needed in there, right, Brian?
It's got zeros after it.
Yeah.
Because I pulled it and put it up as an ambulance.
Okay. Captured lapsing funds, that's your Green Mountain Road, reconstruction money right there. It says captured lapsing funds, 30,000. So that'll be your Green Mountain Road culvert and such going. Let's see, Snow Road Bridge, Green Mountain Road, overlay, historic. You got the grant money for the town hall restoration grant there, Chuck? That
The
money?
4,500?
Yeah, did that money
Yeah,
get moved?
Uh,
That probably hasn't gotten moved, right?
no.
that was a grant specific to that building.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, I would have no problem giving you, not you personally, but that money belongs where it belongs, end of story in my book. It's not money you earmark for something
Yeah,
else.
and I got a couple bills that'll be pretty much there anyway when I submit them.
Okay, so I'd sign off personally on that whenever you need that done.
Okay.
Nothing else there, transfer station fund to be established. So money will start showing up, capital reserve fund, again, they'll start hitting the conservation folks will be dealing with that this year, fire truck. That money will probably not move on fire truck, any of that stuff, I'm thinking.
The Parsonsfield $2,000 will probably go back into the fire department.
Yeah, and that's incoming funds, that's not coming out of our.
No, that was money that had to be paid out of this year's budget on lines that were collected in of last year's budget.
Right, but that was Parsonsfield money coming in for a specific purpose that we shouldn't be taking that for other purposes.
That's correct, but it's not gonna, that $2,000 expense is gonna wind up in the fire department equipment costs.
Right. No, I think we understand.
Yep.
All the rest of the items under, capital reserve funds are probably not going to be recognized until December. When we find out what kind of solvency we have at the bottom line in the checking account. So those would be the other things that I would say we shouldn't put the money in there until our bills are paid. That's my thought. Take care. Capital reserve funds, fire department grants, town hall.
That town hall is an in and out fund. So this is the one where the Preservation Society collects donations and private foundations. And when we process the voucher through for payments on the building project, it's a wash. So money comes in from that and washes back out. No cost.
That does not affect our bottom lines here. So that looks like about it on here, unless anybody sees anything else or has any input. Wow. I know we had a work session for other things. What are you thinking?
I still got an hour's worth of work to do.
I don't doubt I have some phone calls to return and messages that have been nonstop.
I'm good.
I'd love
At 1 o'clock, I started to put this together at 9.
That's why you make the big bucks, though.
I was right.
I was thinking about that 9.
And what he was thinking. All right, we'll try and figure out a work.
These are the big bucks, you can have it.
I'll trade you pay.
Are we done? Are you gonna?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're gonna make a motion to adjourn here if nobody else wants to push the envelope on work session.
Motion to adjourn. Fuller.
Hot second.
All in favor?
Fuller, aye.
All right.
To Hal and I. Thank you, Brian, for staying through it all.
Good night, all.